Hello YouTube, Air Assassin here today, and I'm here to talk about Balance Druid for PvP Legion Alpha. So, I'm going to be going over the honor talents, the talents, and the spells in the spellbook. So with that, let's get started. First thing I'm going to cover is the artifact weapon talent for Boomkin. Goes by three names: Half Moon, Full Moon, New Moon. It generates more power as each moon is different. It just deals arcane damage. You have to cast it. I'll show you guys now. This is half moon. And then full moon generates 40 astral power. And once it deals damage to all enemies near target. And then after that, it goes to new moon. It only generates 10 power. And it always bounces between those three. It goes to new moon, then half moon, full moon, etc. So with that, let's go on next to spells. You have Bark Skin still. Dash is still there, but it's different. It no longer removes slows and snares, unfortunately. Displacer Beast still a talent. You keep roots. Frenzied Regeneration is a talent. You no longer have it automatically. I'll show you guys that shortly. Incarnation is still a talent. You no longer have Celestial Alignment, so this is kind of your main damage if you pick this for cooldowns. It's basically up to 40% increased from different from like 15 or 10% from live, I believe. I think it's 15%. Innervate you have, it infuses a healer with energy, allowing them to cast spells without spending mana for 10 seconds. Iron Fur is like Frenzy Regeneration, a talent. I'll get to that later on. Lunar Strike is just basically a new name from Starfire, I believe. Call down a strike of lunar energy to damage the target and more enemies around the target. Generates 10 power. Mangle, same as the Frenzy Regeneration. It's a talent. Mighty Bash, still the same as live. It's a talent. Nothing else has really changed much. Solar Wrath, Starfire here, the very last talent. I mean, not talent. Book in the spell book on this page is now different. And live, it used to AoE down everything in sight near you. Now it's basically a radius. I'll show you guys that right now. Just let me get some Austro power real quick. Okay, so I got the power right now. And as you can see on the screen, this is a huge radius for Starfall. Using it right now. And this radius right now, as you can see, the little purple glowy area, that is Starfall now. It no longer AoEs everything in sight well above you and you move with it. It just is in one area. It's kind of cool. In my opinion, I feel like it's better because in Starfall, it just pulls everything from like mobs or some random stuff you don't want to pull. So I like the change. Star Surge, you don't get 3 procs like you do in live anymore. You can spam it as much as you want, but you need power. So, which if you got the bar full, you can only spam it twice. So that's really what's changed about Star Surge. Everything else is pretty much the same. So moving on to the next talent. Force of Nature, this is probably useless unless it's in PvE basically, but yeah, I just don't see it usable in PvP at all. Trent's summon and attack and taunt enemies, that's basically it. It's basically useless. So it comes down to these next two. Warrior of Elune, your next 2 lunar strikes are instant, which is pretty good. Star-Lord, lunar and solar empowerments also reduce your cast time of affected spells by 8%. So those are the only 2 I feel like would be good for PvP right now. Displacer Beast and Wild Charge, not much has changed about them other than they moved to the second row. Renewal, same as well. Not much has changed about that. Instantly just heals you. Third row is completely new. Feral Infinity, you get all of Feral spells basically. Rip, Shred, Ferocious Bite, Swipe. and your movement and speed is increased by 15% at all times. Guardian Infinity. This reduces your damage taken by 10% at all times. You also get Frenzied, Regeneration, Iron Fur, Mangle, and Thrash that all I've told you about earlier in the spellbook. Restoration Infinity grants you your Restore's Gift, which is the same as live as when it was a talent, except now you get it at all times as a talent. Plus, you also get Regeneration, Regrowth, Swift Mend. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the third row. Right now, each spec is completely different. I personally like either the Restoration one or Guardian, so I would pick one of those two at least for now. 60 row, not much has changed. They're all same 3 talents as live. 75 row, Soul of the Force increases the damage bonus of lunar and solar empowerment by additional 15%. Reduces the cost of Starfall by 10. Incarnation is still here. Like I said, it's buffed by 40% now instead of 15. Stellar Fire is basically another dot over time. Benefits from both lunar and solar empowerments, consuming one of each. Shooting Stars, Moonfire and Sunfire damage has a 10% chance to call down a falling star, dealing astral damage and generating 5 astral power. Astral Communion is now a talent instead of actually having it in your spellbook. Blessing of the Ancients, gain a blessing of the Ancients activating or swapping between one of the 2 following beneficial effects. Increases astral power generated by Solar Wrath and Lunar Strike by 40%. Blessing of Anshi grants 2 astral power every 2.3 seconds. The 100 row, there's not really, I don't really like them as much. I mean, they're okay, but I'll go over the first one. Fury of Elune, 6 astral power plus 12 per second to use it. Calls down a beam of pure celestial energy at the target location, dealing 72,000 astral damage every 1 second until your power is exhausted. While Fury of Elune is active, you may recast it for no cost to direct the beam to move to a new location. This one is actually probably my favorite. I mean, it does have its flaws because people could just move out of Starfall, so... But in Battlegrounds, like in situations like the example, Eye of the Storm in middle, you can AoE everybody and its radius is huge, so I could see that being good in Battlegrounds. Basically increases its radius by 30%, Starfall damage by 20%, and allows you to cast while moving while within the radius. Nature's Balance aligns the power of the moon and stars, causing Lunar Strike to extend the duration of your Moonfire by 5.58 seconds, and Solar Wrath to extend the duration of Sunfire by 3.72 seconds. Moving on to the Honor Talents. First one's basically a PvP trinket. That's really all it is just a standard PvP trinket. Adaptation, all loss of control effects 5 seconds or more will activate your PvP trinket, but increase it to make a 60-second cooldown. Relentless is basically a duration of incoming crowd control effects reduced by 25%. Train of Thought, whenever you're not attacked, your damage will be increased by 15%. That's basically all there is. This will cancel if you're attacked, so... Mind Quickness is just a haste increase, basically. And Inhalation, something like that. Critical chance is increased by 30% on targets above 80% health. Protector of the Globe, using Healing Touch on an ally always critically heals and reduces the cast time of your Healing Touch by 50% for 6 seconds. Shape Mender, this was a glyph, but is now a talent. Not much has changed about that. You just get healed when you switch forms. Druid of Claw, while in bear form, your chance to be critically hit is reduced by an additional 10%. In addition, when a melee attack hits you while in bear form, you have a 10% chance to cast a free rejuvenation on yourself, free of cost. Prickling Thorns, when your entangling roots is removed, dispelled, or ends, the target will take damage. Using Moonfire on a target already affected by Moonfire's damage overtime effect deals 35% damage, additional damage. This is what I think is the best one out of this row, just because if you combine it with the talent in the talent tree, it also does more damage, so I could see it even being more strong. So, just my opinion out of all these. So, next row, Touch of the Stars. Healing Touch generates 150 Astral Power. Twin Moonfire. Whenever your Moonfire or another nearby injured enemy within 40 yards of the target, free of cost. Also, for the Touch of the Stars, I don't see this becoming live like that because our Astral Power only goes to 100, so I just don't see that. Moonfire Aura. Whenever you Star Surge, all allies within 0 yards have their spell critical strikes chance to increase by 15% for 12 seconds. Now for the interesting row. Boomkins don't really have that much CC. I mean, you have Mighty Bash if you talent it. So if you don't have Cyclone, you basically have, like right now, no CC. And with all the melees right now on it, it is kind of sad. So I highly recommend Cyclone or have all these, but that's just my opinion. Everybody's gonna be doing something different. So yeah, that's the first one, Cyclone. Next is reduces the cooldown of Solar Beam. That is also good, but like I said, another CC for Cyclone. Fairy Fire, basically. Well, it's Fiery Swarm, but it's the same. They're both the same, except this one, it no longer basically sees the stealth targets. Like, they can't, like, example, if you used down the rogue before, they would not be able to vanish. They can vanish with it up because it only does a slow now and reduces their chance to hit. It's also only for 8 seconds. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for Boomkins and what they have right now on Alpha. I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you for the next one.